It's 1:30 and we have a quorum, so I will call this meeting to order. Welcome to the City of Oklahoma City Board of Adjustments for November 6th, 2025. For anyone wishing to be heard today, besides the applicant, please fill out a white sheet found at the front desk outside at the doors and get it to a member of the staff as soon as possible. The process for today's meeting will be as follows. Ms. Lincoln will call the case number. The applicant or the representative will be recognized to come to the podium, give a brief description of their case. I will then recognize any supporters or protestants who have signed up to speak. They will be given 3 minutes each to express their views. For anyone at the podium, please start with your name and address for the record. Item number 2 on the agenda is to receive the minutes.
Motion to receive the minutes of the October 16, 2025 meeting. Oh.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote when available. And the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is continuance requests and withdrawals.
So we have item number 33, case number 16056. It's been continued to December 4th. And I have a new withdrawal for item number 27, which is case number 15941. Item number 28, case number 15943. Item number 29, case number 15945. And item number 30, case number 15948, to be withdrawn by the applicant.
With that, is there anyone here that wishes to speak on any of those cases? And we do have one.
Good afternoon, Brian Jones, 1544 Northwest 40th Street. And if I understand correctly, these applications have been withdrawn. They won't be considered today. So that was why I was going to be here today. But I don't see any reason for me to continue staying. So I'd just like to thank the board again for the way in which they've handled this case, and also thank city staff for the way they've handled this case. Thank you.
Thanks.
A new continuance. Any new continuances?
Are there any other?
I think we have one new continuance by case number 31, case number 16083.
Michael Navard, 2209 Northwest 57th. We're actually willing to withdraw the case subject to an approved drawing we received from the city this morning. So if urban design is on board, we're on board. Ryan Conch is here as well with the city. So we're willing to withdraw the case if we can accept this drawing.
Okay. And that's my understanding also is
Yes.
that you've received a drawing, you're going to work with Public Works and
That's right.
get settled
Yes.
outside of here. So with that, we'll add that as a withdrawal.
Thank you.
Could I get a motion for the continuous requests and withdrawals?
All right, so can I make one motion for both, or do I need to make separate motions?
For the staff and then the public?
Two separate motions? Okay, then I'll start with motion to continue case number 16056 to the December 4th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. And vote when available. And vote when available. And that passes. And then we'd need a motion for the continuance and withdrawals from the public.
All right, so a motion to withdraw case number 15941, 15943, 15945, 15948, and 16083.
I'll second.
You withdrew.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes. Next, item number 4. Is the consent docket, and there's nothing on that, so we'll go to the cases, first case.
Item number 1, case number 16060 is a request of Raina Daniels for a variance to yard and bulk regulations in the AA Agricultural District located at 5101 East Wilshire Boulevard. And this one, we're going to request to continue till December the 4th to renotice with a new legal description.
Is there anyone here to speak on this case?
Is that SBA?
Item number 1, 16060. 5101 East Wilshire Boulevard.
Is it about barbed wire around the top?
Is it about what?
Barbed wire around the
No,
not me.
it's not. Okay. With that, can I get a motion to continue?
All right. Motion to continue case number 16060 to the December 4th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Okay. Item number 2, case number 16079 is a request of Bricktown Venture LLC for a variance to the sign regulations located in the Bricktown Core District, the Downtown Parking Overlay, and DSHA Scenic Highway area.
Hi, I'm David Hartnack with NAI Red. The application is to repaint an existing sign with a new logo for the new tenant in the building. We're not changing the size of the existing sign, but the existing sign does exceed current sign requirements in size.
Thanks. Anything from the board? The sign exists as it is right now. It will be the same exact size, just a different narrative on it.
Exactly.
No one had signed up to speak on this. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this item? Anything from the board? No? A motion?
Make a motion to approve case number 16079 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Thank you.
Item number 3, case number 16086 is a request of Ashley Mizuta on behalf of the Printers of Oklahoma City LLC for a variance to fence regulations located at 1605 North Portland Avenue.
Do we have an applicant on this case? This is the one you were talking about.
Hi, my name is Cara Blair, 2619 South 71st Street East, Muskogee, Oklahoma, 74403. We're requesting to add strands of barbed wire to the top of the compound to help keep the homeless population out. They've done damage to the soffit where the gate connects, and that is also part of Oklahoma City's 911, and we're trying to keep them safe as well as our equipment safe.
Okay, on this, you're requesting two separate variances. One on the fence height and the other one is to add the barbed wire.
Yes.
No one had signed up to speak on this. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this item? There's not anything from the board.
Just a simple question. I mean, what all other options have you guys exhausted in trying to?
We've repaired the site multiple times. The past time, they have pulled the gate off, and they're pulling the soffit off of the side to where it's making it harder to attach. We've got it secured as it can be as far as chains, locks. You know, it's a very sturdy gate that's there. And help from local law enforcement, but
And you're not worried that they're going to try to attempt to still gain access even with the barbed wire? You're not worried that they're going to attempt to still gain access even with the barbed wire?
I would hope that would be enough to discourage them from trying to go over the top. You see damage in these pictures that have happened from them being inside.
And I'm in agreement with you. I don't know that this is going to stop it from happening, but it's an additional deterrent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem, is that I don't know of an alternative solution. But I do fear that the attempts will still be made. The only difference is some people are going to get badly hurt.
Or they're just going to tear the door off. But
In past sites that we've added barbed wire, it tends to discourage them from going that way.
So
It's
you've had success historically?
in other
doing-
locations, just
Okay.
not in the city.
That helps me a lot.
anything else? No? Ready for a motion?
I guess, what are they trying to, well, why are they going over the fence?
I'm assuming that that is pretty enclosed to where there's no visibility outside, they can't be seen. So it takes a long time for people to discover that they're actually in there unless they're seen coming in and out.
And there's potential phosphorus metals, copper.
And that is the 911, part of your 911 for the emergencies here in the city.
I'm just curious. I guess I'll make a motion to approve case number 16079 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
I'll second.
Case number 16086.
Oh, yeah,
Are we on number 2?
3.
3, 160.
Oh, 16086, sorry. I didn't cross that out.
I'll second the corrected case number.
Thanks. And we have a motion and a second. Vote when available,
Thank you, Cindy.
and it passes.
Thank you.
Item number 4, case number 16091 is a request of Thaddeus Jam and Tracy Lynn Jam for a variance to the side and rear yard setback located at 9851 Piedmont Road.
Good afternoon. Thaddeus Jam, 9851 North Piedmont Road. Basically, I put up a barn 2 years ago, and when I put it up, utilizing the contractors I had, we talked about permits. They said I was out in the country, I didn't have to worry about it. So I went for it, put it all up, and when I started putting up my fence, and after some convoluted discussions, finding out that I'm actually part of Oklahoma City with a Yukon address and a Canadian County property, that started getting permits for my fence, and I started putting in one for the barn. And when they came back from the barn, it's a 25-foot setback. I have it at 15 feet from both sides of the property line. I have some pictures here if you'd like to see. The way my property is, all the other surrounding properties drain through my property. So that was the best location to put the barn, because it stayed out of the natural drainage, because it goes to a creek that runs through the property. And so that's where I'm at. So it's been there for almost 2 years now. It cannot be seen from North Piedmont Road. That's it. It's elevated to allow for water flow, things of that nature.
And kind of an oddly shaped piece of property too, and
Yes, sir.
there are no protests, no written protests. Does anyone here wish to speak on this case? There's none, so looking for a motion.
Have you spoken to any of your neighbors?
Yes,
And everybody's on board?
everybody's fine. They're just going, really? We didn't know that. And I said, yeah, Oklahoma City has to issue the permit. And they said, we're part of Oklahoma City? I said, that's what I said.
Yeah.
So,
All right, I'll make a motion then to approve case number 16091 for the purpose, is that correct? 16091? I'll make sure I'm on the right one. Thank you. For the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. It passes.
thank you all very much for your time.
Item number 5, case number 16099 is a request of Johnson Associates on behalf of Lamar EK Limited for a variance to paving regulations located at 9300 West Reno Avenue.
Good afternoon, Mark Zitzow with Johnson & Associates. Address is 1 East Sheridan Avenue. This is a case for Fleet Pride. They've been out at that location for quite some time, and the entirety of their paved area is gravel. They're doing, in addition to the building, and we're seeking to keep the gravel for the maneuvering area. I think just clarification, because of the way the staff report noted it. This is on file with the city. This is the permit. Everything in the front is fully paved. It meets code. It's just the area in the back where they'll be maneuvering. We note in there that if this was a car rental facility, what we're proposing would be permitted. It's just that the specific industrial use that we have isn't listed in the code to allow the alternative surface. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions, but we would ask for your approval.
Thanks. No one had signed up to speak. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this item? There are none. Anything from commissioners, board members, sorry. No? I see nothing wrong with it. It functions as it should. Everything in the front and the parking area is all hard surface.
Correct. Yeah, the whole site's being brought up to code, and including the pervious paving, because what code will require is now a concrete border around the gravel area to contain it better than how that is. It's going to be a vast improvement over what's there today.
And it's not next to a river where stuff gets fixed.
No, it's not next to any rivers, no streams.
All right, then I'll make a motion to approve case number 16099 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Thank you.
Item number 6, case number 16100 is a request of Johnson Associates on behalf of HPCP Investments LLC to a variance to sign regulations located at 13600 Memorial Park Drive.
Mark Sitzow, Johnson and Associates, 20 Sheridan Avenue. This is an exciting project that's in for permitting. It's the Papados, long anticipated, into Oklahoma City. And so if you've been to Papados, they have very specific signage in terms of how it's affixed to the building. They're seeking to maintain that look at the Oklahoma City location. And so what we are asking for is essentially a roof sign. And the way that the new sign code reads is in the C3 district, you're not allowed to put a sign above the roof line unless you're over 6 stories. And so you could see it's technically above the portion of the roof that it's on, but there are other higher portions of the parapet adjacent to it. The sign's only 5 feet tall. With the direction it's facing, we don't think it's going to be obtrusive to anybody. I know the staff report talks about this being in the Lake Hefner sign overlay. That's for billboards, doesn't really have any relevance on this case. So happy to answer any questions, but we think it's a tasteful design and would ask for your approval.
And this is their standard badging for a Papados.
Correct.
No one had signed up to speak. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this item? There are none. Anything from the board?
Yeah, I'm just curious, because I do agree that you can clearly see that the parapet wall does go higher than the actual sign. But if this wasn't in the scenic overlay, if this was off I-35, for example, would you still need the same variance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the sign code on this one. It's not the scenic overlay.
Okay.
Yeah, and just for clarity, we're not asking for more signage than what we're allowed. We're asking for above the roof line, which is the trigger for the variance.
Okay.
There's we noted it in our application, but Port 164, which is a storage facility 2 miles to the north, has this. It's a similar look. It's been approved, just where it's been approved has been through the PUD, specifically negotiated.
And now will come to us all the time.
I'm appreciative of you getting the variance on this as opposed to having a application for an appeal of an administrative decision where we then have to determine whether or not this exceeds the roof. So,
We're happy to make it easier on you.
Thanks. Anything else from the board? No? Ready for a motion?
We're good? All right. A motion to approve case number 16100 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Thank you.
Good thing we didn't stop the
Item
Cajun
number
food.
7, case number 16090 is a request of Chris Cobb for a variance to the accessory building regulations in the RA Single Family Rural Residential District located at 14501 West.
Chris Cobb, 14400 Northwest 150th Street, Piedmont, Oklahoma, 73078. I'm requesting the variance to build the accessory before the single-family residence is constructed. In doing so, it would allow me to prepare for the future construction of the residence as well as get rid of the current structure that is there from the previous property owner, which is where I would like to put the house. I also have some livestock and animals that I currently have at a cousin's place in Richland. And, you know, the HOA has just recently approved us to follow Oklahoma City animal codes. So I can now keep them on my property. And I would like to be able to do that.
Thanks. Nobody had signed up to speak on this. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this item? I know there's several protests, written protests in the packet. I don't know, several, maybe just a couple, and one of them is that says that this will go against the existing CCNRs.
They're probably referring to the fact that our HOA does not allow a barn dominium. However, I'm not looking to do any barn dominium at all. This is simply just a pole barn structure. I have no
Right.
utilities.
You're not living in it.
Correct. No
And-
utilities, no electrical, no nothing at this point.
Yeah. And I read through the CCNRs. I wasn't sure what they were referring to, and there's nobody here to explain it, so.
Yeah, they're probably thinking that it's going to be a metal barn dominium, which it is not.
And so the only variance right now is the fact that he's building the accessory structure prior to single-family residence.
Correct.
Which, if it was already existing, there would be no need for the variance at all. But he
He's
would,
taking one down and replacing it with another one.
Yes, the prior property owner before me had put it's more or less just a shed, really. It's not from top view. I mean, there's a porch on that south or on that north end that overhangs that, I would say probably a good 8 foot. And the way that she had described it to me is that she had done that, and then they came out to check and measured the roof line, said it was too much, needed a permit, and so they stopped her at that point. And that was constructed, I believe, it shows on the Canadian County Assessor that was constructed in 2016, and I purchased the property in 2019.
Have you made contact with the
Yes.
who wrote this letter?
Yep. I mean, I have not specifically about this, but he is aware of me wanting to, build the pole barn first. Simply another thing too, I mean, I don't make a lot of money, and this was just something that I figured that I could do, and work on getting that paid off and make some headway on that, and then work on building my house. Just doing things a little unorthodox.
Anything from the board on this? Some of the other reasons of the protest from the HOA was that property has flood control problems.
On that particular, I do own the lot next to it. I own the lot next to any construction on that at all.
To the north,
Yes, sir,
Where
to
it's
the north, that is
completely
correct.
treed, yeah.
Yep. That particular
And
lot,
and then the other problems that they had was the existing structure, which you're taking down anyway.
what was the problem they were saying about that?
That was just built without permits and,
Yeah, and that was before my time, but this is, I'm trying to do this the right way, and I can understand that, I think that they're viewing it as the fact that I'm gonna be building as a barn dominium and then living in there. There's no living quarters in there at all, which is one of the things that some of the people at Plan Review had said, well, why don't you put a living quarters in it? And I said, well, I'm trying to do this the right way. I don't want to do it the wrong way, and my HOA does not allow that. So this was my next option.
do you have, am I missing the plans, the floor plan? Did you submit the floor plan for this?
According to Oklahoma City Code, for a pole barn, I'm not required to do any plans. The only thing they needed was engineered truss plans for the permit.
so there is no site plan.
What was?
Well, there is a site plan per se, but not a actual floor plan. This is not any kind of a structure that's, there's no foundation. This is just simply posts that are stuck in the ground with
Right.
girts, sheet metal, trusses, and steel sheeting.
So the submission to the city was just the site plan?
That is correct. And the engineered truss plans, those are the two requirements from Plan Review for a pole barn of this nature.
I would like to see something from the HOA, but that's just me, a letter of approval from them, but
You say I would need one?
no, I just would have rather had an approval from them that they would allow it.
They would allow the pole barn?
Yeah.
Every-
And again, they might, if you could have supplied that, that would
Yeah.
have helped me get there.
Every other single, you can see from the,
Yeah,
deal
no,
that there's- nearly everybody in that neighborhood
Yeah.
has a similar structure.
Yep, I agree with that. Anything else?
If the HOA had notice, they could have submitted an objection to.
And they
They
did.
did.
They did.
But-
Yeah, but, I mean, as
The
far as whether or
objection
not
for
they'll.
why is kind of maybe up in there is against what the reasoning the HOA wrote the protest, had to
Right.
do with the CCNRs, the existing building that's going to come down.
So once again, if I understand correctly, the reason that he is here is because he's proposing to build a non-residential dwelling
That's correct.
Prior
First.
to.
prior to building his house. So that's why he's here. Otherwise, if he were building his house first, then he could build a pole barn without being before us. Do I understand that
Yeah, right,
correctly?
as long as it
That
met
is
all the other
correct.
criteria.
That is the way the Oklahoma City Code reads, yes, that is correct.
All right.
All right. I'm good with it then. I'll make a motion to approve case number 16090 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second.
I can assure you, I am not trying to do anything under the table here. I can promise you that.
No, I agree.
That's why I'm trying to do it this way, instead of what plan review had suggested in order to do, they said just submit something with the living quarters in it. And I said, no, I cannot. I cannot do that.
Well, I think if you put living quarters on there and be in violation of the CCRs, I think you may find yourself with a lawsuit at some point.
That's correct. That's why I'm going about doing it this way.
It passes 3-1.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you guys a lot. Oh, so what's the next step?
Item number 8 is case number 16084, is an application for special exception of Misty Dawn Jenkins and Olawanda Sue Taylor to allow a mobile home to serve as a temporary second dwelling to relieve a medical hardship located at 16900 King Arthur Court.
Hi, Kirkland Figaro, Clayton Homes, 8601 South Shields, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73149. We are submitting a application for a special exception to allow a mobile home to serve as a dwelling to relieve a medical hardship. The applicant wants to take care of their mother who is ill.
Nobody has signed up to speak on this case. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this case? There are none. Anything from the board? Is this, by the look of, the new structure is not going to be built all the way behind the existing structure?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Kind of alongside it?
Yes, correct.
Do you know how long you're looking for this permit?
Well, I would say at least 2 years.
Anything else? They have supplied the proper documentation.
Is that for me?
For the medical hardship, that's correct.
Yeah. The number of years is probably the only thing to determine.
I was going to say, do you want to, I know that we.
Three is the maximum,
Okay.
so if you want 3, you need to state that rather than just the 2.
3 is fine.
We ready for a motion?
Yep.
All right. Motion to approve case number 16084 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions. The only modification being that this will be for a term of 3 years.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Item number 9, case number 16093 is an application for special exception of John E. Williams and Lily Williams to allow a mobile home to serve as a temporary second dwelling to relieve medical hardship located at 15825 South May Avenue.
My name is Leela Williams, 15825 South May Avenue, and we're asking for a continuance on the mobile home that's there. My daughter lives there, and she helps us a lot. My husband's had a heart attack, I've had a heart attack. He has a disease called, they
It
call it.
doesn't matter. Right.
Huh?
So
Okay.
that doesn't really matter. So
Anyway, he passes out, so he needs someone to check on him.
no one had signed up on this item. Does anyone from the audience wish to be heard on this item?
Now, you mentioned you want a continuance or you want
No,
us to approve?
it's continue the application.
It was
She
previously-
actually had a medical hardship on this prior, but it lapsed. And so she's come back to extend that.
Gotcha.
There were some written protests. I don't know if you saw them. I think just in reading that, it seems as if they didn't like the fact that you had a mobile home already, and maybe they thought you were going to have another mobile home.
Yeah, we're
So that's what I
not.
wasn't sure about, but they're not here to clarify that point. And so the existing mobile home that's there is going to be used as the hardship.
Yes. We're not moving anything else in. I have some pictures of the property now, if you'd like to see them.
So I believe she's going to show you some pictures because of the section of the code that says that the mobile home shall be located behind the front wall of the main dwelling, and she is unable to do that with that mobile home that's been there due to some electrical wires. Is that what you're going to show?
Yes,
Okay.
we couldn't move it back because of the electricity wires.
Right.
And those wires feed our neighbor and us as well.
But that's not a separate variance, though. It's just part of the existing, just approval of it not being set behind the existing dwelling.
It's not too, we don't need to grant a separate variance for that?
Just make it part of it.
She had a building permit from the first time, and they went out and they advised her that it needed to be moved. Was that correct?
They did in the beginning, but they went ahead and approved it because of the high lines and the way the property structure is.
Yep. And we have before on medical hardships, if you couldn't put the dwelling behind the existing dwelling, then just make it contingent upon it.
Okay.
And like I said before to the last applicant on this same type of application, it can be for 1, 2, or 3 years.
We want it for as long as we can get it. We'd like to live there, and, you know, I mean, we built the house in 2001, and we want to be there for the rest of our lives.
You good?
We're good. And she did file the proper information saying
Documentation
the
for medical
documentation
need,
from the
correct.
medical.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve case number 16093 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exception for a term of 3 years.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Thank you very much.
Item number 10, case number 16071, is an application for Carissa Frank on behalf of Christelle Properties to allow home sharing at 4401 St. Gregory Drive.
I am Carissa Frank on behalf of Christelle Properties LLC at address 4401 St. Gregory Drive for my special exemption permit for my home share license.
This is a timely renewal. Nobody had signed up to speak on this case. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak on this case? There are none. Any discussion from the board? Just to go over the application, it's a 4-bedroom home. You're saying a maximum of 8 guests. You have quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. in it. I wanted to add no on-street parking during the quiet hours, so no on-street parking overnight. And you have availability to park 4 cars already, 2 in the garage, 2 in the drive.
Correct, and we have not had any on-site or on the curb parking.
Yep, I just wanted to keep that way and add that little statement to the application itself, and then the term would be 3 years on timely renewal.
Do you want to put a 4-car maximum?
It's in the application, so. Anything else? Get a motion?
All right. Make a motion to approve case number 16071 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the following modifications. There shall not be any on-street parking during quiet hours, and this shall be for a term of 3 years.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Thank you.
Item number 11 is case number 16073, is an application by Taylor Volk of Clover LLC to allow home sharing, 2106 Northwest 18th Street.
Taylor Volk, 1409 Northwest 16th. The home share application, timely renewal, humbly requesting a 3-year renewal for the Board of Adjustment. We haven't had any complaints from neighbors or any citations from the city during the time of our home share.
No one had signed up to speak on this case. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this case? Seeing none, any discussion from the board? I will say in the application that it states that there's no license request pending on this. So you've not applied for a license, a home sharing license for this address? Currently?
I'm sorry, the license wasn't paid for as of yet?
No, it is not.
I'll be sure to make sure that it's
Right.
completely
So
updated.
that will have to be done in contingent with this, so the
Absolutely.
application would be contingent upon the purchase of that license.
Absolutely.
Maybe adjust the quiet hours.
Yeah, quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM.
Are you okay with that?
That would be just fine.
Yeah, 9 PM to 8 AM on that. I'd like to add a maximum of 4 vehicles and no on-street parking.
I can agree to that.
And it's timely renewal, so a maximum of a 3-year term.
Yes.
Ready? All right, motion to approve case number 16073 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. This shall be for a term of 3 years, quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM, 4-car maximum with no on-street parking, and then the approval is subject to obtaining the licensure, the appropriate licensure.
I'll second.
Motion is second, vote when available. And it passes.
Item number 12, case number 16075 is an application by Taylor Volk of Clover LLC to allow home sharing at 1837 Northwest 16th Street.
For this application, there was a moratorium that took place. We had prior home sharing on this, at this residence. We changed our application where 1843 was the holder that took place over the last year. The moratorium took effect when we came in to do a renewal for this application. And unfortunately, we were just beyond our deadline for the granting of being grandfathered in. So our goal today is to move our application or our holding for that moratorium that took place last year. Instead of it being 1843, which would have been our renewal application, and I would have been asking for a 3-year renewal on, which is next door on the west side of this property, we would like to instead have our holding for at the special exemption to be at 1837 instead, as a placeholder for this home share exception. With our history with the home sharing and our exception being available for a 3-year renewal, I would like to ask if it could be possible we could also agree to a 3-year renewal with the history of this property and history of the property to the west. Had not had any complaints. This property also has never had complaints from neighbors or from the city, no citations.
So has this been a long-term lease since the previous special exception expired?
We've been doing Furnish Finder and other websites that have longer terms, traveling nurses and such was what we ended up doing due to the moratorium. We wish we could have met that deadline to be grandfathered in. Unfortunately, that changed. Our block is rather small. It only allows for one property at a time on that city block to have a special exemption with the
The
moratorium.
property to the west held the special exception prior.
It was his property, and so you're simply wanting to swap, you're allowing that one to expire so that you can use the 10%
On this one.
That's exactly correct. Yeah, and that was strategically placed so that we can switch from that property, 1843 to 1837, which is next door. 1843 is that corner on the corner lot. It is during the time of this application, that's our time was to swap it over. And 1843 has the ability to be a 3-year approval from the board, hoping that we could still have that as a possibility. And it would line up with the prior application that we just did, so I can have an application at the same time, 3-year. It would be very, very, very nice. And the history of the property as well would.
I have a question. Do we even have the authority to substitute properties as he's requesting?
I mean, we would have to just do it based on this property. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'd just stick to our precedent, or my precedent, and go with the 1 year on the first time for a property. Nobody had signed up on this to speak. Is anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application? None, just so, again, discussion. There is a written protest on this, I believe.
Did you receive a copy of that?
I have not seen a protest. Is there any questions on what was brought up in a protest? I haven't been made aware of it by any neighbors.
We actually just got this today.
It has not come to my attention.
Yep.
It's in,
On-street parking's one of the
Yes,
the problems.
on-street parking is absolutely the only parking for this property.
I have another question. Do you have a license on this property, a short-term rental license on this property? I know that question came up with the previous.
I believe I'll also have to pay for the license for this, so
Yeah.
with the application, I'll absolutely get that paid for immediately. I put the application in for the license.
For the license?
I put the application in for the license. I don't believe I paid for it yet until the approval. I'll happy to do that today, just to be clear on.
Which is,
So-
that's normal for a new application.
Okay.
As far as the 3-year, I could go either way. I understand, I mean, he operated next door. I think the only pushback that I would have on it, and where I may end up where you are, Don, is the fact that somebody is not getting the ability to share their thoughts on the other rental because it's expired now, and this would be a new one. So it's almost, prohibiting them from being able to say anything about this property because it's not been operated.
And I'm not even sure how many people or guests were available in the property to the west, but this is a large number of people, and so that you're requesting on this one. I think that for me, it's just, I'd go 1 year.
If I would have met the deadline with the new moratorium, it could have been available as a 3-year with no complaints from neighbors or city, if that could be a possibility.
Yeah, that was in 2024, right? Expired in 5 of 24.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, as they say, that ship sailed also. I discussed it on the application itself. It's a 6-bedroom home,
Yes, it is.
and you're requesting 16. I would say, for me, I'd like to see it at a maximum of 13. That's 2 per bedroom plus 1. I'd like to see modification of the quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. There's a statement in the application that says on-street parking would be available on College Avenue, but I think that's from another application.
That must be. We have ample on-site parking. That driveway's double wide. Should be able to fit 5 cars easily.
Yeah, I don't know that it's double wide. That's a small car, and there's not enough room for another car right next to it. I'm looking at 3-car maximum.
It is also gravel on the right side of the lot and then goes
Right.
through the back. as well.
According to the ordinance, it needs to be hard surface
Okay.
for parking.
Did you all remodel this property?
It has been remodeled, yes.
Did you add a bedroom during that remodel?
No, I don't believe so. I believe there would not be any changes to bedroom count. Just paint and renewing the wood is mostly what we had to do, and windows.
The county assessor says 5 bedrooms.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anywhere, even historically, where it was even marketed as anything other than a 5-bedroom. And then also, what is the current square footage of the home?
I believe it's 2,900 square feet. We have 2 queen pull-out couches on the site for the property, and that was the goal for why we have so many requests for the number of guests to accommodate. Number of beds available would be 8 queen beds.
I mean, from my point of view, it's a single-family home, 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, either one. If there was more than 13 people in that house, it's too many.
Yeah,
For
even
sure.
with the square footage, I mean, you have a slightly different, I'm seeing 2564 on the square footage, but even at 29, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms?
3 bathrooms.
That'd be a lot to squeeze in.
Full
It's not a
bathrooms.
large home.
Mr. C, do you find any other information?
I mean, I had to look it up on Zillow. I'm looking at the assessor. The assessor shows 2,500 square feet. Zillow says 2,600. I'm with Marcus on, that's a lot of people for that size house.
5 with 2 in each bedroom, plus 1 or 2.
I could get behind 11. I still think that's a lot for the square footage of the house, but I mean, it does appear to be 5 bedrooms, so I'll go with that.
Yeah,
Could do.
yeah, I can get beyond 11 people.
Mr. Volk, are you good with that?
How many individuals would that count for? Is it 13?
11.
11?
11.
Would that be the maximum that?
Right,
the board
maximum
would
number of
be able
guests
to
would be
do?
11.
The pull-out couches, would that be able to count for one more?
That's where
That's
we
it.
got the 10 plus 1.
Okay, okay.
As far as the parking, I mean, I'm looking at that picture. If you move that car close to the grasses, I think you can get side by side. I think you can get 4 cars in there pretty
Go with
easily.
4.
Mr. Volk, is there parking alongside the building in front of that picture?
That would be 16th Street. If you go off North Kentucky Avenue.
No, I'm sorry, closer to the building.
There, it goes to the back. You can
It does
drive
go
up-
to the
you
back.
can drive
That's-
up
that's
back.
what I'm trying to
Yeah.
ask.
Yes, it does. And
Okay,
I have
thank you.
plans
Just
to
run
add
off the
pump.
hard surface.
Oh, I see, that's the gravel part. I understand.
Starting approximately where that porch ends on the east side, that's where the concrete stops and starts being gravel. We do have plans to put concrete there. We have a spot application for this property. So we'll have even more parking for the future use.
And when you come back after a year, you can also, come back and if it goes well, you can add another guest also. We good?
I'll make a motion to approve case number 16075 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 1 year. Quiet hours shall be from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. Maximum number of guests at 11. A 4-car maximum, and obviously no on-street parking during quiet hours.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
May I-
Oh, it is 16th Street.
It's 16th Street. so.
Yeah.
May
No
I state,
on-street parking.
may I state just for a moment, I'm so sorry to interrupt. It took me a moment to find the appraisal. I have an appraisal for 6 bedrooms, And it shows a exact number of 2672 on the appraisal. If you would like to use that as a qualifying for more people, I could share that with you.
Still at 2,600 square feet.
Okay. I think for the first year that we're all in agreement that 11 for a maximum.
And as
have
part
the
of my motion, obviously subject to getting the appropriate license.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It passes.
Item number 13, case number 16076 is an application by Joel Mitchell to allow home sharing located at 828 Northeast 36th Street.
Hi, my name is Natasha Harrelson. I'm here in behalf of Joel Mitchell.
Can you just tell us a little bit about the property?
Yeah, so essentially he lives out of state, so they said we needed a special permit. This would be my first one, so.
It is a 3-bedroom home. You're
Yes.
asking for a maximum of 6 guests.
Yes.
I'd like to modify the quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM.
Okay.
A maximum of number of vehicles. Can you use the garage?
They are going to be able to use the garage as well.
2 in the drive and 1 in the drive, or 1 in the garage, 2 in the drive, 1 in the garage.
Uh-huh.
And the term will be for a year. No one has signed up to speak on this item. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this? There's not any other discussion?
How many bathrooms are there?
There's 2.
2 bathrooms, okay. There's no on-street parking at all, right?
No, it's
thought
off of 36.
Right.
Yeah.
4-lane road.
Be pretty difficult.
Cause a lot of problems, just making sure that I put that in there. All right, then I will make a motion to approve case number 16076 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. Quiet hours will be from 9 PM to 8 AM, 3-car maximum, no on-street parking, and for a term of 1 year.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available.
Sorry, I accidentally hit.
And it passes.
All right, thank you.
Item number 14, case number 16077 is an application by Annette Ellis to allow home sharing located at 300 Northwest 92nd Street.
Good afternoon. I'm Annette Ellis at 512 Northwest 157th Street in Edmond, Oklahoma, and I'm requesting a special exception for 300 Northwest 92nd Street in Oklahoma City. It is currently a short-term rental right now because you all passed it last year. The stipulations that I put on there was the quiet time from 9 PM to 8 AM, and also the maximum of 4 cars.
And this is a timely renewal. Nobody had signed up to speak on this. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application? None. Any other discussion? It's a 3-bedroom home, 6 guest maximum.
1.5 bathrooms, I think, were we not given guidance of 4 guests per bathroom?
It's not written, it's something that we've discussed, but it's not in writing.
I think it's just a guideline.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this has already been approved for 6 and running with 6 right now.
Okay.
And the bathroom, I think I put 1.5. It's actually 1 3/4. It has a shower.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing I wanted to add to the application was that there be no on-street parking during the quiet hours, so none overnight, being on a corner.
Right, it's on there too.
And that was okay with the 3-year term, if I said that?
Yes.
How many cars?
4 cars maximum.
4.
All right.
2 in the garage, 2 in the drive.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve case number 16077 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested special exceptions with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 3 years. There shall be a 4-car maximum and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
Thank you.
Item number 15, case number 16078 is an application by Nathan Rex to allow home sharing located 1604 Northwest 45th Street.
Hello, my name is Nate Rex, 4613 Northwest 160th Terrace, Edmond, Oklahoma. Seeking a renewal of a current license we were granted last year. Everything's gone well, haven't had any complaints from neighbors or anything that I'm aware of. So.
This is a timely renewal. No one has signed up to speak on this. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application? None, just discussion from the board. I'll go and just say that the current, on the application currently is 4-bedroom home, a maximum of 9 guests. I'd like to modify the quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Yes, sir.
On the number of vehicles, it's maximum of 3 with no on-street parking. It's
That's
in the
correct.
application also, and then the term would be for 3 years. Nine.
I don't have any questions. Anything else?
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve case number 16078 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. Quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. This will be for a term of 3 years.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. And it passes.
All right, thank you guys.
Item number 16, case number 16082 is an application by Ellis Joe Edward to allow home sharing located at 700 Northwest 114th Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Ellis, and I live at 512 Northwest 157th Street in Edmond, Oklahoma. I'm requesting a special exception for a short-term rental at 700 Northwest 114th Street in Oklahoma City. This property is a 5-bedroom, it's a 3-bathroom, has 3 living areas. It will sleep approximately 10 people, and we are parking in the driveway for approximately, I say 6 cars, 2 inside and 4 outside.
No one had signed up to speak on this item. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, just some discussion on it. I looked it up on the county records. It says it's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,228 square feet.
I believe that the county may have missed measurements. I think that 22 should be a 32. If you look at the schematics and look at the room size, you'll calculate about 3,200 square feet.
I'm only seeing it as 4-bedroom. The square footage may be off, but it looks like it's only a 4-bedroom.
It's 5.
Sir, do you happen to have an appraisal that, or an official measurement that you could present to us?
I do not.
Even with it being, say it is 5-bedroom, but it's listed as a 4-bedroom, I can still get to 9 as a maximum number of guests, if that would be a good spot.
That's fine, but it's
And then, because again, it would be for a term of 1 year, so you come back at a renewal, if you would remember and bring a floor plan, that would help a lot.
I can do that, yes. Well,
I'd want to add no on-street parking to the application too, but good with the 6 cars, 2 in the garage, 4 in the drive,
yes, that's fine.
the term 1 year. Good. Anything else?
No. Make sure I get all the modifications in my motion, but motion to approve case number 16082 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exception with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 1 year, maximum number of people at 9, 6 car maximum, and no on-street parking during quiet hours.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. It passes.
Thank you.
Item number 17, case number 16085 is an application by Susie Kleiner of Kleiner RE LLC to allow home sharing, 2413 Northwest 45th Street.
Hello, my name is Tony Cruz. I'm here on behalf of Susie Kleiner, and Kleiner RE LLC. We're asking for a renewal of our current license.
No one had signed up to speak on this. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this case? There's none, just discussion. It was originally approved for a maximum of 7 guests. It is a 3-bedroom, how many bath?
2 bath.
2 bath. The sleeping arrangements, so the 3-bedroom, 2 people per room, and then how do you get the other 2?
We have a pull-out sofa in the living room.
I'm in favor of keeping it 7.
Yeah, I like 7 too. The quiet hours per the application. 2 cars in the drive, 2 cars in the garage for a maximum of 4, and no on-street parking. Good with that?
Yes, sir.
No on-street during quiet hours or at all?
Kind of at all, 45th.
Anything else? No. All right, I'll make a motion to approve case number 16085 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 3 years. Maximum number of guests shall remain at 7, 4-car maximum, and no on-street parking.
I'll second.
And it passes.
All right, thank you so much.
Item number 18, case number 16088 is an application by William Burleson of A Real Home Away on behalf of Jack E. Brinkerhoff and Margaret Brinkerhoff to allow home sharing, 1016 Northwest 191st Street.
So this was for 216 or 116?
1016.
1016, okay.
Northwest 191st.
Good afternoon. My name is James Miller. I'm with A Real Home Away, and that 3000 East Britain Road in Oklahoma City, representing Jack and Margaret Brinkerhoff at 1016 Northwest 191st Street. We're seeking a special exception for home sharing. The property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We're requesting a maximum of 7 occupants. It has a 2-car garage and allows for 2 in the driveway. We took management over on the September 19th, and I know that there are some protests, and we've read them, and obviously we're going to clearly not allow parking on the street. We have the property that is always mowed, and since we just took it over, it's on a mowing schedule, a cleaning schedule. It's inspected frequently, at least quarterly, and we have strict rules against any noise. One of the other issues that residents were saying is that short terms are not allowed in their bylaws, but after reviewing the CCRs, Article 4, Section 4.01A, talks about a single-family dwelling. No gainful occupation, profession, trade, or non-residential shall be conducted. All of our guests are single-family when they come and they stay.
There are several people who have signed up to speak on this. Or 2. You want to hear from them?
Yeah. Carter Steff, 516 Northwest 186th Street. We oppose this. First of all, there are a couple of properties on that same street that are operating as single-family or short-term rentals, and we don't know if they're approved or not. But the issue is the CCRs provide that for single-family residences. They were drafted in 2014, so obviously that's before the short-term rentals came about. But it does specifically say that no business is to be operated out of the residence, except a business where the resident is the sole employee and it's not open to the public. And in this case, the buyers purchased the property in September, immediately turned it into a short-term rental. It was purchased to be a business, the business being a short-term rental. And so we would oppose it based on that. But beyond that, our primary concerns are parking. I believe they've mentioned that there would be no on-street parking. That kind of solves that problem if that's the case. The primary concerns of some of the neighbors, and there may be others here to speak, are the issue of, we don't know whether there's any vetting of who the short-term rentals are. Obviously overcrowding, I think, is addressed, so we don't have a problem with that. But it's, people coming and going, and we don't know who they are, how long they're going to be there, whether they've been, they have a criminal background. We don't have any idea about the safety. We're a neighborhood of about 380 homes, a significant number of small children in the neighborhood, and safety and, from both a traffic and parking standpoint, as well as in worst case scenario, abduction, harm, that kind of thing. And so we again, oppose it, but would at least ask for a 1-year term and restrictions such as parking and number of residents and those kind of things.
Before you leave, I just wanted to ask you a question. Do you know if it's currently operating as a short-term lease?
I believe it is.
When it came online, it did have a couple short terms. I was out of town, and I'm the one that usually manages that, and so these short terms ended up squeaking in. But when I came back the first week, we turned it into a 30-day renewal or 30-day minimum because we knew that we were coming, and those squeaked in. But now it has a 44 or 34 night guest in it that is planning to extend, but it did not have anything before that.
Next would be Cody Brent. Cody Bent.
Hello, my name's Cody Beat. I live at 800 Northwest 189th Circle in the neighborhood. I believe I sent a written statement in as well. Just to oppose this short-term rental on that side of the neighborhood. Number one, reason being, covenants in our HOA restricting business use, as Carter articulated earlier. My wife and I moved into this neighborhood 4 or 5 years ago. We lived in a big renters area. And so for us, moving into another home, one of the big things was having an HOA that would have some type of regulation regarding who lives in the neighborhood, how those houses are used. So we feel like that does not reflect how the neighborhood HOA rules are written. Also have a 2-year-old daughter at the house. We're pretty close in proximity to this one. We're just a couple streets over. So like Carter had also mentioned, who knows who's renting these things out, anything like that. As you can also see, which isn't obviously related to this specific application, where that big house is at right now, where all the trees are at, that's actually going to be basically a 200-unit townhome development in a PUD, basically surrounding our neighborhood. And so that coupled with short-term rentals coming into the neighborhood, I personally just don't like having that around us with any type of crime that might happen or anything like that. So that's why I'm just here to oppose it, and would hope that is the case that you guys choose. So thank you.
Thanks. That's all that is signed up. Is there anyone from the audience who wish to be heard on this application? No. Discussion on this. I will say that according to the information that the City of Oklahoma City has and given us, that there's only this property that is trying to get a special exception in this block. So if there's anything else operating, it's not operating legally. Do we have any information on the property itself and how it was listed and according to our new software?
Sarah Welch, Planning Department. This property does not show up on our Rentalscape app.
I'd be curious to know what other homes you are aware of that are operating as short-term rentals.
1020 Northwest 191st Street.
It's the next house to the west. It's 16 and then 1020.
Our Rentalscape software does show that that is advertised but not licensed.
Can you repeat what she said from the microphone so we get that on record?
Yeah, the address is 1020. It's the property directly to the west of this one. And I thought there was another one.
No,
Okay. Just those two? Okay. So I guess the second one was this property back when they did have the short-term rentals before, but apparently they've stopped that for now.
Who's the owner of 1020? Okay, can you tell us who the owner is? No? Okay.
Not in the database?
So 1020 is operating illegally, or at least appears without a license.
We have a listing at 1020, or we show a live listing at the neighbor's property advertised for 4 bedrooms and 10 people
That's 1020, you said?
at 1020 Northwest 191st Street. And no record of this property being home shared.
I have a question regarding the current application. When did the owners of 1016 Northwest 191st Street purchase the property?
September.
Yeah, well, that's when we took over the management of that. They purchased it, I think, like 40 days before that. So that would be what, August? Maybe. That was when they closed on it. And we took delivery of it on the 19th of September. So during that time, it was not being rented because it was being furnished.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
From the podium.
Cody Beat from 800 Northwest 100. Again, we'll say to that point, if you look at like from Verbo on their listing for that house, there is a review from September for someone named Kathy who stayed for 2 nights at that house. So that was being used prior to this application. So just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, sir.
Can I speak to that? I already addressed that when I first introduced it, that we did have a couple short terms. Our minimum is 3, and like I said, I was out of the state, and those 2 squeaked in. When I came in, I addressed it with our operations team, and we resolved that and made sure that we turned it into a 30-night minimum because we had already had the application in place, but those bookings came in inadvertently.
And that was September?
Yes, we took it in September 19th, and I think there were two night rentals, and ours is a minimum of 3 nights for a short-term rental. So those squeaked in through our system. They were automatically booked. And so when I came back the first week in October, we fixed that, and there was one other short-term that was already in place when I came back, and then the very next one, and I just double-checked, it's a 44-night midterm that's in there right now.
So we typically have a policy that we've just kind of unofficially adopted as a board where we'll wait until the amount of time that it's been leased without short-term rental, but it sounds like you've got a rental over 30 days that will take you past the time that it was leased anyway. So I'm willing to say that that's sufficient and move forward with approving this on a 1-year basis.
I want to know if you would be willing to add the 3-night minimum stay to the application?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's even on our system as a minimum of 3 nights. Like I said, that one came on board at the same time that I was at, and just,
Yeah.
and I do apologize.
And so some additions, but a maximum of 7 guests.
Yep.
Where quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. A maximum of 4 cars, 2 in the drive, 2 in the garage, no on-street parking, and again, the term would
Yes.
only be 1 year.
Yes.
And to the 2 protestants, obviously, they would have to run a good property, and it being property managed does help us. And if they aren't in compliance with what you hear today, file a claim.
Well, not only that, but also if you're seeing, can the public access the system that we have here with the city, or would they just have to notify the Action Center if there's any question? Or how do they look up?
If there is a home sharing operation that someone believes is not either licensed and/or has a special exception, that would be an Action Center complaint. And just to kind of summarize what kind of the rules are for home sharing, everyone in Oklahoma City who's doing home sharing needs to have a license, first of all. And if you're not the primary resident, if you don't live at the property, or if you home share your property more than 10 days in a calendar month, then you also need a special exception, which is the process that we're doing here today. If you're a new applicant for a new home sharing special exception, there are rules about how many can be located on a platted block. And so what I'm showing on the map right here is an interesting block, because you can see how it kind of wraps around all the way around this property. At first glance, I'm counting about 30 homes on the lot, which means there would be a maximum of 3 special exceptions, new special exceptions that could be allowed for home sharing on this block. I don't have the information right here with me, but when we took this application in, it was determined that that number was not exceeded, which is why he was able to apply.
And then there's also specific language addressing CCRs, right?
There are specific, our home sharing ordinance was updated, I don't know, a year ago now, I'm not sure. But one of the provisions that was added and approved by City Council was that this board can consider as a basis for denial any covenants that specifically prohibit home sharing, but the wording is very specific about how it has to be noted in the covenants. It has to specifically reference our home sharing and short-term rental definition. And I have that here for anybody who wants to take it with them.
Based off that, I'm going to make a motion to approve case number 16088 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 3 years, a 3-night minimum, 4-car maximum, no on-street parking, and quiet hours between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m.
I'll second. No, 1 year.
One.
1 year,
year.
3-night minimum.
3-night minimum.
Yes, thank you.
I'll second.
All right.
We have a motion and a second.
I mean, I messed up the case number earlier. It wouldn't surprise me, so I appreciate y'all keeping me in line.
And it passes.
Thank you.
Item number 19, case number 16089, is a special exception request by William Burleson of A Real Home Away on behalf of DFY Micro Ownership Company, 1 LLC, to allow home sharing at 2016 Northwest 172nd Street.
Good afternoon again. James Miller from A Real Home Away, 3000 East Britton Road in Oklahoma City, representing DFY Micro Ownership Company at 2016 Northwest 172nd Street, seeking special exception for home sharing. This home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,676 square feet, max occupancy of 7. We took management of it on October 1st, and there is one booking in there now that started on October 3rd for 33 nights. And 2-car garage, so 2 in the garage, 2 in the driveway, nothing on the street.
And no one had signed up to speak on this. Is there anyone from the audience who'd like to speak on this application? Seeing none, discussion from the board. I will just like to add the quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. State the maximum number of vehicles to be 4, 2 in the garage, 2 on the
Yes.
drive. No on-street parking. And the term would be for 1 year.
Yes, thank you.
I'm presuming this is a 2-bathroom home?
Yes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay, thank you.
I meant to state that, I'm sorry.
You're good. Being no further discussion, I'll make a motion to approve case number 16089 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exception with the following modifications. Quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m., 4-car maximum, no on-street parking, and for a term of 1 year.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available. It passes.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Have a great afternoon.
Item number 20, case number 16094, is an application for special exception by Jacob Adam Caleres and Alicia Aguirre to allow home sharing located at 2800 Northwest 43rd Street.
Hi, I'm Alicia Gary Caleres, whatever. I haven't changed my last name yet. The address is 2800 Northwest 43rd Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73112. It is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. We are looking to get a special exemption to use the property as a home, as a short-term rental.
Nobody had signed up to speak on this case. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this? Seeing none, discussion. I'll start. The county assessor says this is 1,553 square feet.
1900. I have an appraisal if that would help.
Probably an add-on that they don't have.
I believe it was bought by an investor when we bought it, and I believe they took the garage and made that into the 4th bedroom. That's how I think they got the extra footage.
How many baths?
2.
2 full?
2 full.
So with 4-bedroom home, how can you get to 10, the sleeping arrangement?
Well, I have another one, and the city limits gave me, for a 4-2, they gave me 10 people that allowed it, so I just came up with that number. And so the way it sleeps is we have 3 king bedrooms, and then on the big master bedroom, we put 2 queen bedrooms, or 2 queen beds, so it's 5 beds.
And then I would want to add quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM. And it appears that you can only put 2 cars in the drive.
3 cars.
You can fit 3.
I even did like a side picture. I don't know if that would help you. I think I added it
And the
somewhere.
term would be for a year. So I think just determine the number.
I mean, I can get behind 9. No. Did you say no on-street parking or no on-street parking during quiet hours?
No, it's on the corner. It's kind of, probably shouldn't have any. And I'm okay with 9 too, as a maximum.
That's fine.
Nothing else?
I'm good with it.
All right. Motion to approve then case number 16094 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 1 year, 9 guests maximum, quiet hours from 9 PM to 8 AM, a 3-car maximum, and no on-street parking.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available.
I do have one question. I just want to be clear. So if it's like 9 adults and an infant, does the infant count as
You
a
just
whole
need to
person?
advertise it for 9.
Just 9, period. Okay.
But
okay.
technically, it would be 9.
I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, but
thank you, guys.
technically, that would be 9 guests. I want to make sure that's my opinion on that. So even if it's an infant, regardless of age, they count towards that maximum.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
All set.
It passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 21, case number 16092 is an application by Robin N. Taylor to allow home sharing located at 222 Northeast 14th Street.
Hi, my name's Robin Taylor. I live at 17202 Highway 33 in Durham, Oklahoma. I'm here for a special exception for home share at 222 Northeast 14th Street.
Nobody had signed up to speak on this. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this application? Seeing none, just discussion. I'd just like to start with, I would like to add that there be no on-street parking during the quiet hours, so none at night.
I think my rules had that. I've watched some of your meetings online before I applied and realized that was a pretty big rule.
4-bedroom maximum of 9 guests.
Yeah, she pretty much addressed everything in her application.
Yeah.
Because she watches YouTube.
Yeah.
Anything
How
else?
many bathrooms are in the property?
2.5.
Thank you.
Anything else? We good? All right, I'll make a motion then to approve case number 16092 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exception for a term of 1 year.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote when available.
I do have one question, so I can be timely on a renewal. Do we get a letter in the mail, or how does that process work?
Licensing should send you a reminder for your license.
I'm sorry,
Your
pardon?
licensing will send you a reminder on your license,
Okay,
and then you'll get an email for your special exception that it's going to expire I would start the process about 2 months before.
2 months. Okay, thank you.
And your board order that you'll receive in 10 days will also be a reminder to you.
It'll have the date and everything.
Doesn't want to have a date, it just says it expires in 1 year.
Okay. Okay, so you can have that for your records.
So you can have that for your records.
Okay, thank you.
passes. I don't remember if I said that or not.
Item number 22, case number 16095 is a special exception by Jonathan Rees on behalf of Gamilia Idos Reyes and Alida Melissa Maldonado to allow home sharing located at 3012 Northwest 15th Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan. I'm here asking for a special exception on 3012 Northwest 15th. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath. We're only allowing 4 guests and up to 4 vehicle parking. Quiet hours are from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Nobody had signed up to speak on this. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application? Seeing none, just discussion. The only thing I would like to add to the application would be no on-street parking during the quiet hours, so none overnight.
Of course. Okay. Any other questions?
Ready? All right, I'll make a motion then to approve case number 16095 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the request of special exceptions with the following modification. No on-street parking during quiet hours, and this will be for a term of 1 year.
I'll second.
Motion and second. And it passes.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 23, case number 16096 is an application by David Bailey to allow home sharing located at 3031 Northwest 19th Street.
Good afternoon. My name is David Bailey. I live at 1048 Southwest 16th Street. I'm here to request a special exemption to allow home sharing at 3031 Northwest 19th Street. This is a 3-bed, 2.5-bath property at 1,849 square feet. There are 2 parking spots located in the back of the property. And to address one thing on the application, I believe I put 9 as the number of guests. I intended on putting 7 as that number of allowable guests there.
Thanks. No one has signed up to speak. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application? Seeing none, just discussion. So on the number of vehicles, I was going to say 2 on property and 2 off property.
Okay.
So for Nineteenth Street split, so it's got ample
Yeah, it does.
parking
Yeah.
on the street.
Thank you.
The term would be a year.
Just put 4-car maximum.
Yeah. Maximum of 7 guests.
How many bathrooms are there?
2.5.
2.5, okay. Any other discussion? We good? All right, I'll make a motion then to approve case number 16096 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exception with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 1 year, 7 guests maximum, and a 4-car maximum.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, but when available. And it passes.
Item number 24, case number 16097 is an application by David Bailey to allow home sharing at 3033 Northwest 19th Street.
And again, this is the adjacent house right
Start
next
with your
to-
name again.
Yeah, David Bailey. I live at 1048 Southwest 16th Street. I'm here to request a special exemption to 3033 Northwest 19th Street. Again, this is a 3-bed, 2.5-bath home, 1,849 square feet, 2 parking spots located in the back. And a similar comment on the number of guests. I think I listed 9, should be 7.
And again, it's a 2.5-bath home?
That's
Is
right.
that correct?
That's
Thank you,
correct,
sir.
yeah.
Maximum number of vehicles to be 4.
Okay.
Term 1 year. Nobody signed up to speak. I don't remember if I asked that or not. Anybody from the audience wish to speak on this application? No.
So I'm presuming that there are no other Airbnbs on this one. We're still under the 10% if they got through.
Yeah, and the block is 24. So you could put 2.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're not
exceeding.
Yeah. All right, seeing no other discussion, motion to approve case number 16097 for the purpose that it meets its statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. This will be for a term of 1 year, maximum number of guests at 7, and a 4-car maximum.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. And it passes.
Thank you.
Item number 25, case number 16098 is an application by Sherry Madison on behalf of Fidelity First LLC to allow home sharing, 8528 Southwest 43rd Street.
Hi, my name's Sherry Madison. I'm with Fidelity First. The property is located at 8528 Southwest 43rd, and we're just looking for our 3-year renewal. I'm sharing.
Nobody has signed up to speak on this. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application? Seeing none, discussion. The timely renewal. So the maximum would be 3 years on the renewal. I want to add no on-street parking. And can they use the garage?
They can.
So 2 in the garage,
2 in the drive.
2 in the drive.
Yeah, I have it on my application, but I off-street parking, no off-street parking.
No
It was-
on-street.
Yeah.
We want the
Typo.
off-street. 4 beds, 8 maximum. Good. Anything else?
Good. All right. I'll make a motion to approve case number 16098 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exceptions with the following modifications. This will be for 4-car, maximum cars at 4, no on-street parking for a term of 3 years.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. That passes.
Thank you.
Item number 26, case number 16080 is an application by Leah Haddad of Haddad OKC LLC to allow home sharing located at 2130 Northwest 21st Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Mahmoud. I'm representing Leah Haddad. This is going to be a renewal for the short-term rental. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,973 square feet with 2 living areas. And one of them is kind of like a flex, could be used also as a bedroom, but I think last year we only got approved for 7. We have a detached car garage with the extended concrete, so that should be good for 4 cars as well.
No one has signed up to speak on this. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this case? Seeing none. Discussion. So I looked this up on the county assessor. This is a duplex?
It used to be. Now it's a single family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still has 2 front doors, but
It's 1 door, yes.
so it's, give me the number of beds, bedrooms?
3-bedroom, 2-bath.
3 bed, 2 bath, okay. It's 1,978 square feet. It is a timely renewal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say 3 years. I know the application says 1. Quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. Did you say it was previously approved at 7 guests?
Yes.
Because that's what I can get behind once again.
We asked for 8, but we got 7 because you did not approve the extra flex room in that.
Yeah, I'm going to get behind 7 again. How many cars are we looking at?
Can you use the garage?
Yes.
So 2 in the garage, so 4. 2 in the garage, 2 in the drive. No on-street parking?
No.
You know, on the corner?
No, it's corner lot.
And the term, 3 years?
Yeah. All right. I know there's some protest. There's one protest. But
There was one written protest. I don't know. Did you see the written protest?
Yes, we already talked to them and we sent them a letter.
Good.
All right. Good? All right, motion to approve case number 16080 for the purpose that it meets the statutory requirements for the special exception with the following modifications. Quiet hours are from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. at 4-car maximum, no on-street parking, and maximum number of guests at 7 for a term of 3 years.
I'll second.
We have a motion, second, vote when available. Marcus?
Sorry.
It passes.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 27 through 31 have been withdrawn. We're at item 32, case number 16087 is an appeal by Matt Bell from the decision of the Historic Preservation Commission on September 3rd, located at 425 Northwest 16th Street.
I have copies of the survey, if anyone would like them.
You start with your name and address.
Sure. It's Matthew Bell, 421 Northwest 16th Street.
And then maybe just explain the appeal.
Sure. My name is Matt Bell. I own the property at 421 Northwest 16th Street, which is directly adjoining to the east of the applicant's property. It is my aim to bring clarity to obscure plans that have been presented by the applicant, and I have brought with me some colorful visual aids which may be useful to everyone's understanding and the discussion here today. I have appealed the HP Commission approval to address and seek remedy to the significant errors and omissions in the materials that form the basis of the HP approval to demolish the applicant's 1.5-story garage and reconstruct a new 2-story garage. An accurate, clear, and properly documented application benefits all parties by preserving the integrity of the review process, protecting neighboring properties, and maintaining the character of our historic districts. A new garage on the adjoining property affects my own property by altering sight lines, redirecting drainage, and changing the spatial character of the area. And this is precisely one reason why the City Buildings Code and the HP review procedures exist, to ensure that such impacts are carefully reviewed and appropriately mitigated. This appeal is not about stopping progress or opposing another homeowner's right to build. It's about ensuring that any construction approved is based on accurate information and follows the same rules that all of us are expected to follow. The applicant has presented the concept of demolishing the existing 1.5-story garage and replacing it with a secondary dwelling with enclosed parking for 2 vehicles. This concept, presented as plans to the HP staff, to the HP Commission, the public, and to this Board of Adjustment, do not reflect the reality of the site, are not compatible with HP guidelines, and are lacking the practicality required to move forward in construction. First, the most glaring issue is the placement of the property line and the presented location of the existing garage, both of which are materially misstated. Without an accurate starting point, no one can assess the project in relation to HP guidelines. The east property line per the plans is misstated by 4 feet. This misstatement alters the perception of the east-west orientation of the existing and proposed structure. Additionally, the site plan misstates the location of the existing structure on the north-south axis. Together, these misstatements establish a false baseline that render the plans unacceptable to even be considered for a certificate of appropriateness. These plans simply do not provide the basic information relevant for assessing the project against HP guidelines. Without knowing the accurate location of the property line and the existing structure, you cannot assess the appropriateness against section 4.4.3 and 4.4.5 of the HP guidelines. 4.4.3 states, and I quote, "A newer replacement garage should follow the historic setback of the garage on the property or setback pattern of other garages in the streetscape or historic district." Section 4.4.5 states, and I quote, "A replacement garage shall approximate the configuration, form, massing style, placement, and detail of the former garage." Without an accurate starting point and reality-based plans, no one can assess the project in relation to these guidelines. Over this topic and this topic alone, the application can be denied. Second, the plans do not include complete dimensions concerning the height or total width of the proposed structure. Nowhere in the plans is the height of the proposed garage shown, and nobody who is reading these plans can determine the height based on the information provided. Additionally, the plans omit dimension for the shed-style bump out on the front of the structure, making a calculation of the proposed footprint unsolvable. Without knowing the accurate height and width dimensions of the proposed structure, you cannot assess the appropriateness of the plans against guidelines 4.4.5 and 4.4.6. Section 4.4.5 refers to the configuration, form, and massing, and section 4.4.6 discusses the limits of the footprint of a new garage. Without this omitted key information, you cannot assess the project in relation to these guidelines. Over this topic and this topic alone, this application can't be denied. Third, the submitted plans mischaracterize the upstairs portion of the 1.5-story existing garage as living quarters instead of storage. Section 4.4.9 states, and I quote, "Materials used for a new garage should reflect the property's historical development and the use and function of the garage. Instead of presenting materials consistent with the use and function of a garage and storage area, the applicant has provided details attributable to the secondary dwelling unit that they seek to build. The plans clearly show that the upper floor of the proposed 2-story garage will include all facilities needed for a self-contained residential unit. The plans depict the proposed structure with ample footprint and square footage for a full kitchen, full-size refrigerator, a full-size sink, full-size dishwasher, a 3-seat dining area, a linen closet, a walk-in closet, a full-size washer and dryer, a bathroom complete with a shower and lavatory, a hot water heater, HVAC equipment, and ducting. These plans contain all the materials of an accessory dwelling unit, even though there's no evidence to suggest that the 1.5-story auto house, as described on the Sanborn maps, ever contained a dwelling unit. The staff report even states, HP zoning does not allow a second dwelling. However, a second dwelling is clearly depicted in the plans. It is the inclusion of all the amenities and materials for the second dwelling that necessitate the building footprint of over 600 square feet for the proposed structure rather than the size necessary to accommodate 2 vehicles. A standard size 2-car garage is 20 feet by 20 feet wide, which produces a footprint of 400 square feet. Section 4.4.6 of the HP guidelines are more generous and allow for, and I quote, "a footprint of up to 400 square feet or 5% of the lot, whichever is greater. In order to accommodate, and then here's the other part, in order to accommodate standard size parking space for up to 2 vehicles. Section 4.4.6 does not state that you may increase the size of the garage so that you may accommodate for all amenities and materials necessary for a dwelling unit. The applicant's lot is 80 by 140 feet. Thus, section 4.4.6 allows for a garage footprint of 560 square feet, which is well beyond what is needed to accommodate parking for 2 vehicles. Yet the plans show a footprint of over 600 square feet, which is greater than allowed per the guidelines. Over this topic and this topic alone, this application can be denied. These three issues that I just laid out concerning the application clearly show that the plans are not appropriate or compatible with HB guidelines. Additionally, there are some other practical issues regarding the plans that may also warrant denial. First, the plans do not account for water drainage, although the entire back of the property is impervious and there is existing structural damage due to excess water as indicated by the applicant's engineering report. Also, electric service for my property line goes right across the site of the enlarged garage, and there may not be enough clearance for my electric line. These are important issues concerning the viability of the project and require attention. Second, both the existing and the proposed site plans are omitting the accessory buildings or sheds and HVAC equipment that currently exist on the property and block practical access to the west garage door for parking a vehicle. Omitting these structures from the plans prevent objective evaluation of the usability and practicality of the design. And lastly, and most importantly, approval of the plans as presented create confusion about where and what will actually be constructed. Because of the errors and omissions that I have identified, both the form and the massing of the new garage will be determined outside of the HP approval process because the height and the width of the proposed structure are not defined. However, the placement of the new, furthermore, the placement of the new garage will be determined outside of the HP approval process as well, because the placement of the proposed garage is only relative to existing conditions that will be demolished. There are no permanent and fixed reference points, such as an accurate property line, to determine the location of the new garage. Thus, the north wall can only be built in relation to the existing north wall, which will be demolished, and the east wall can only be built in relation to the existing east wall, which will be demolished. Over this topic and this topic alone, this application can be denied as it demonstrates how approval of these plans circumvent HP and zoning requirements. Together and in total, the misstated property lines, the inaccurate site plans, the missing data, and the mischaracterizations all point to a single conclusion. The prior approval was based on an incomplete and misleading record. Approving these flawed plans does not provide for clarity, but instead introduces avoidable complications into a construction process that is reliant on accuracy and precision from the outset. I'm here today simply asking that the application be reviewed on accurate and complete information as required by the HP guidelines and city code, and that any approval of plans be clearly defined and compatible with HP guidelines. Therefore, I respectfully request the board to deny the approval of the application and provide the applicant an opportunity to resubmit corrected, verified plans so the project may be evaluated and built in full compliance of the rules and regulations of the City of Oklahoma City and HP guidelines. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Excuse me. We do have someone signed up to speak. You want to hear from them? Mr. Box?
Good afternoon, David Box, 525 Northwest 11th Street. This may be one of my first times to ever sign up to speak. I'm usually here asking you to unwind a decision made by the HP Commission. I find myself here in a position of, I think, uniqueness for my practice, not only because I'm here asking you to uphold the decision of the HP Commission, but in this neighborhood, that being Heritage Hills, I actually stand before you, and I'm confident in this, for the first time with multiple letters of support from almost every neighbor on the block. I think perhaps the appellant is the only one that doesn't understand the process. I think perhaps it would make some sense for you to hear from Ms. Friddle. Ms. Friddle obviously is the HP person from Oklahoma City staff and the one that sits at on the horseshoe during the HP Commission. So I think it'd be beneficial if she kind of walked through briefly what it is HP did and why they did it, because what the appellant has told you is frankly inaccurate, mischaracterizes the process. What happens is oftentimes HP Commission will make a recommendation, or excuse me, a motion to approve, and then seek additional information that gets submitted to staff in almost every case, and that's what happened here. So before I go through and introduce you to my team, if Ms. Friddle, and I did warn her of this, so I'm not putting her on the spot, I'd like Ms. Friddle to walk you through what happened at HP.
Hi, Katie Friddle, Planning Department, staff to the Historic Preservation Commission, current planning and urban design. Just briefly, yes, I would say that some of the concerns raised by the neighbor that things are being reviewed outside of the process is not actually how our approval process works. HP is often the first stop for an applicant before they go through other steps to get permits, to get sign-offs from utilities, that sort of thing as part of a construction project. So sometimes along the way through those other steps, they discover there's a utility line that's in the way that they're going to have to avoid. They discover, they do another round of survey work and discover that they had the property line drawn inaccurately on their site plan. We have a whole process to revise those kinds of things on an application, on their certificate of appropriateness as those changes occur. If they're very minor changes that don't impact the substance of what was approved, then those can be done administratively. We call it an administrative revision. If they're more substantive changes that really impact the size and the scope or the appearance of what the commission approved, then we will bring those back to the commission. They will not be able to get a building permit for a project that does not match what has been approved by the Historic Preservation Commission. All of our documentation has to match everything that they submit for a building permit, and we look at every dimension and every spacing and building materials, all those sorts of things. So those concerns that these features are not going to be fully documented or are not going to be evaluated as part of the HP process, we really do have that covered. We make sure that by the end, when they're getting that permit, all of those things have been evaluated. I'm happy to answer any other questions specific to what the appellant has raised.
Just one question. So there's two separate surveys. And so how do you determine which one's right?
We really rely on the applicant to submit the most accurate documentation that they have available. We rely on plan review staff when they're looking at the building permit documents to determine if those things are accurate and align with other information that the city has. And then ultimately it becomes a civil matter between two neighbors if they disagree, if there's a dispute on where the property line is.
And that's one of the basis, right? They wouldn't be able to get a building permit without somebody determine what property line
right.
both parties would agree with.
Right.
Do we know if the two surveyors have spoken to each other?
My understanding is that there's been communication since the Historic Preservation Commission meeting, but I don't know any particulars beyond that.
Well, I ask because I don't think it's uncommon, especially in Oklahoma City, for monuments to not line up. And it's a common practice for one surveyor to call the other and say, hey, let's get on the same page on this. So I think that may solve the issue with the survey.
Yeah, I believe the applicant has had an additional survey done that actually does now match what the neighbor had. So I think those corrections to revise the placement of the garage in relation to the property line are in progress.
Correct. So since HP, we hired a new survey company that went out, and our survey now marries with his survey. So they are identical. And what it shows is that there is a 3-inch encroachment into his property. We are moving our structure so that it no longer has an encroachment. Now, what's interesting, I think, for your review is you are used to seeing setback variances for side yard setback, front yard setback. When you look at HP, it's very different, right? So this house was built in 1913. So that 3-inch encroachment has been there for over 100 years. What HP's guidelines tell us as it relates to garages is that the placement of the garage should follow the historic setback. Well, in this case, the setback is negative, but we're actually going to move it 3 inches to be flush with the property line. Still, I think, honoring what that guideline asks for in terms of having that historic setback. We communicated that to Mr. Bell and told him our surveys match. We offered to send him the survey. It's a 3-inch encroachment. My client has the flexibility to move it over to solve that encroachment. Some of the other items he complains about being drainage. Of course, when we go get a building permit, we're going to have to show that we meet the drainage ordinance. So we're going to have to show how it is we're solving drainage. And we can't, through state law and the new drainage ordinance, impact his property in a negative manner. So we're going to be able to show through specifications why it is we meet all those things. He complains that we don't meet HP guidelines. I'm not an expert in that. I'm not sure Mr. Bell is either. I think the only expert in the room, perhaps, with all due respect to the people that are seated in front of me, is, of course, Ms. Friddle. Ms. Friddle's staff recommended approval of this. Again, I do think it's worth emphasizing how unique it is that I'm here on a case that was approved by HP. I hope you read the substance of those letters of support as well, because that's an important piece of this. This is a wonderful addition to the property. I happen to be friends with these property owners and have been through this. As soon as they bought the house, I walked through it and I said, oh my goodness, do not let your children in here. You need an engineer to come inspect this. And sure enough, our Exhibit A in our brief is an inspection report from a structural engineer. The structural engineer found on page 2 that, and I quote, the structure, which has not otherwise been declared a public nuisance by the city council, poses an imminent threat to public health or safety, and the demolition of said structure is required to alleviate said threat. So that is language that the ordinance requires to be found from a structural engineer. We have found it. Here you're seeing the pictures of the inside of that. HP Commission, which, as you know, takes demolition very seriously, unanimously approved the demolition. What you will see through the images before you is that what they intend to come back with is almost an identical replica of what was there previously. So we are mirroring the massing and the form of this structure. Now, the square footage increases slightly because we are now going to have the staircase enclosed within it. Again, the guidelines allow some flexibility to the HP Commission, and they unanimously approved this slight increase in square footage. So we are squared with the guidelines. HP Commission saw that we were squared, and that's the only reason that they granted approval of this. And as Ms. Friddle stated, it is, I think, almost every application, because you're dealing with property that is so old, things get discovered as you go to build, and so it's a constant communication with staff, once approved, as they're going to build, to submit the things that HP conditioned the approval on. Nothing is different about this case. We will continue to work with staff and submit those documents. Now, I have the architect, I have the builder, both here to answer any and all questions you may have, but the bottom line is, this is a wonderful opportunity. This is squared with the HP guidelines, and we would ask for your approval and to reject this appeal.
Any other discussions?
Just like to hear from the applicant.
Mr. Bell? And to me, it sounds like this is probably more of a living document, right? Instead of something that you're going to see everything finalized on the original drawing. I think building height's probably very important to you also, and that you can probably get that information quickly.
Yeah, that's fine. And the reason why this catches my attention is because what they actually, what they're planning on building is not what they actually got approved to build by the HP Commission. And I came here and because I wanted to point this out, because the property line is misrepresented by 4 feet. They have plans. The proposed site plan shows that that they're going to build the garage on the property line. Okay, but that property line is irrelevant. So the only basis to know the location of where they're going to build it is in relation to the existing garage, and it
Well, it seems as if that they're going to build it on the property line in reference to the new survey that they have showing said property line.
Right, and that is not what was a part of the discussion at the HP meeting, and even at,
I think it was. I mean, I watched that meeting, and so there was discussion on that. It's just that it moved, right? There was maybe a potential 4-foot setback, maybe it's not going to be a 4-foot setback. It just depended on where the property line was going to be set at the time of construction. And so that will get solved prior to them building anything and before they get a building permit.
yeah.
I think that communication with the owner on your part will definitely help you understand more of what's going to happen, because it sounds almost that things could change a lot during this process. But
And
you feeling right about that is important to me also.
Sure, and I appreciate that. To say that, I mean, the existing garage does come over the property line by 3 inches. It essentially sits on the property line. Only the first floor, not the entire thing. Okay, and that portion that is on the property line was added to the historic structure. It was not historic. We know this because it's made out of concrete masonry unit block wall, okay? Also, we know this because the Sanborn maps show a space between the property line and the garage, okay? So that, and the fact that it's over the property line indicates to me that it was added onto without a permit and without a survey. That to me, that's all logical. And even looking at what is there, if there's a photo, it just doesn't match the garage at all. So that's not a good photo. The east side. To me, I'm arguing that the historic setback is not on the property line. The historic setback is in line with that's not a good photo either.
The inside of the CMU block?
Yes,
per
exactly.
se?
Yes. And I brought my visual aids and I can show you.
But I mean, and I agree with that, but I think that it seems as if the commission is going to allow it to be built on property line.
Sure. If you can imagine that this is the property line and this is the east side of the garage.
Mm-hmm.
This is sitting on the property line.
Can you speak into the microphone so we can hear? Hear?
It's sitting on the property line like this, okay? It's an add-on. This green section is a concrete masonry unit wall. This is the historic garage, and it's set back 4 feet. And setbacks, I think setbacks are good, personally.
And you're talking about the second story is inset.
The second story, the historic structure. And that's what I'm saying is, that's the historic setback. The historic setback of the other garage apartments in the area are set back from the property line. They're not on the property line. And the Sanborn maps for garages in the area that are on the property line show that the garage is sitting on the property line. This one does not. So to me, the difference and why I'm here is because this does affect my sense of space in the backyard, right? Because this is the same size of the concrete masonry unit wall. This is to scale, 1 inch per foot, okay? It's 19 feet wide, it's 8 feet and some inches tall. This is what's on the property line. If you look at the plans that were presented, you would be under the impression that this is on the property line and this is over the property line. And that's just not true. So I don't know how HP staff or the commission or you can assess the historic setback when it's shown inaccurately on the plans. And the difference for me is, now you're saying And, they do intend to build on the property line. So the difference for me, is this is the silhouette of the proposed structure. That's the difference that I'm looking at. And I'm saying that isn't historic, and that doesn't match, that doesn't seem appropriate. Had fun cutting those out.
Okay, Mr. Bell, you have to help me. I'm struggling a little bit. So let me start with what I think I know.
Okay.
So your issue is that they intend to build on the property line, or you're okay with that?
If they want to say that that historically it's on the property line and that's important, then why not historically match what's there and build an extension, build it out to the property line on the first floor and then set it back on the second floor? I mean,
well, because it sounds like your issue is from the Sanborn maps, you feel like that there's a gap, and so to be historically appropriate, that the new building should be built in the exact same space as what's shown on that map.
I mean, I think that's for the commission to decide and for you guys to decide.
Well, so some of this, I think, falls in some gray area, and so that's why I'm trying to ascertain exactly what it is that you're finding fault with.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think the appropriate building line should be?
I think it depends on the size of what they want to build. This is 20 feet tall. The plans, we don't have height data for the height of the garage. So how tall is it? If it's more than 20 feet tall, I think it should be set back more than what the 20 feet is set back at. That's my personal opinion. I have a 2-story garage on my property. It's set back 5 feet. You can see it on that survey. And so, that's helpful for space. It's not looming over the neighbor's yard. You can you can stick a ladder up on it. But if you build this big thing on the property line, that doesn't really make sense to me. And also, to my understanding, any resident R1 lot in the city, you can't build a garage on the property line. You have to obey a setback.
Well, but that's where.
Not an HP.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting. So, as you are already aware with the appeal and your argument that you've outlined in the appeal, you know that the HP portion of the code is a series of ifs and thens. If this, you can do this. Unless that, then you can have an exception. So there's a lot that can be done here. And so what I'm saying is, I'm not seeing a clear path. I'm not seeing a clear ask for these folks as far as where you would like to see the structure. It seems, and that would make sense based on your original argument that you outlined, which was, hey, there's a lack of information. But when I interpret the statements that we get from Ms. Friddle, it seems that all of these things will be taken into consideration, but they'll be done on a technical level as they go through to get their permits.
What are you asking me?
Well, I'm saying that I can understand feeling like there's a lack of information for anybody to sufficiently make a decision about what can be built there. But Ms. Friddle has outlined that their process is an iterative one where they will go through, and as they go through this process, they'll identify things like power lines or things like that need to be taken into consideration. And they'll address those then. And if anything needs to change so that it's substantially different than what was reviewed and approved at HP, it will have to go back to HP.
Okay. And I think that's part of my issue is that if you're evaluating the setback based on looking at these plans, you can see that the existing garage is over the property line by 4 feet. The east wall is over the property line by 4 feet. On the proposed plans, the east wall is 4 feet inside to the west. And that is actually what they got approved for. They didn't get it approved, they did not get approval to build this on the property line that I show on my survey. They got it approved to build it on the property line that they show on their plans that is 4 feet to the west.
So let me ask
Because
you.
that was the information that they had at that time. And so it was to be built on the property line. And that was, again, you questioned it and others questioned it also because the surveys were 4 feet apart. That's a long ways. And so they had to get to a correct survey that both parties would agree to and then still be willing to build it on the property line, is what I understood. And like Board Member Uday said, this is a living document, and so there's going to be a lot more changes also, and that's why for us to grant an appeal, we needed to know exactly what the appeal is, and the appeal is, I mean, there's a lot of things you brought up,
Yeah.
but they were also all contingent upon the Historical Preservation Board either saying that it was a reason to deny or a reason to approve. And so because of those things are going to change, we'll be evaluated technically by the building department and the fire department and electrical utilities. All of those things are subject to change.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some discussion at the HP meeting about you can't build a new structure on the property line. You have to obey for the fire code. There was some discussion about that.
Right. And see, and that'll all come in the future, right? I mean, they were approved to build on the fire or on the property line, but with then having to meet every other law, ordinance, building code in order for that structure to be built, and will not get a building permit until their plans match said.
Yeah. I mean,
I understand your frustration. It seemed kind of a lot to me too.
it's that you know, I don't think that anyone wants what I showed, a wall of that size built on their property line. And if the neighbors who wrote in were here, I would ask them the same question. Would you rather have an 8-foot tall wall on your property line, or would you rather have a 20-plus foot wall on your property line? And to me, that's the reason for a setback across the city. And even in 1913, when the original structure was built, set back from the property line. And so to present to present plans that make it look like, well, we're going to correct this error. We're going to take away this section of the concrete masonry unit wall, and we're going to kind of right this evasion of the setback. And to me, it's misleading. It's misleading.
I think I understand what you're saying, and I think that you do have some concerns that are warranted, simply because there's a lot of unknowns. They may correct them all. You may find that the permit that gets approved already addresses all of the issues that you have. If you find that that's not the case, I'm under the impression that you can appeal that decision from the building permit that's issued. And so I think that this appeal is premature if there's not a decision, if there's not something that you can cite in the decision that HP made that is outside of the code. And so and that's what I'm struggling to find right now, is where was the error made? And your arguments, while good arguments, don't articulate an error being made, they articulate information being missing, which I feel like is addressed when Ms. Friddle says that these things will come up throughout this process. This is common, and they address them as they arise. So if one of those comes up and they don't address it appropriately or they don't address it as prescribed by code, you would then have the ability to appeal that decision. And at that point, you could come here and say, here's what the code says, here's what they approve. These things don't match, and this is the basis of my appeal.
Sure, and I can pursue that. But I do think that errors were made on the HP process because the setback was not evaluated. If someone looks at the Sanborn maps and thinks, oh, there's a space here, but this shows that the garage is 4 feet over, that's a red flag. That's like, okay, well, something's wrong here. We can't evaluate this setback based on the information we have. There's some conflicting information. We got to investigate it. The other thing is, I mean, not that they would know, but I guess they possibly could, but even the north-south orientation of it, both plans do not show the actual location of where it sits. And so that's another setback, not one I'm too concerned with, although to me it is better if the garage is further to the back of the property than further up. I would say that, they missed it on the evaluation of the setback. I think they missed it on the evaluation of the size, the massing, and the scale, because it doesn't show how tall it is. It doesn't actually show the footprint, because the bump out, this bump out is not included in the 600 square feet. And so, I do think that HP missed it. As I read those standards, it says that it can expand up to 450 or 5%, but to accommodate for parking of 2 vehicles. It doesn't say to accommodate for building an apartment. And I think that HP did miss that one as well. And so, those are 2 things that I definitely think that HP missed. I really, to me, it would be more simple if they actually presented plans that were accurate, and that I wasn't concerned of them building this giant wall on the property line, and because I don't want to follow this through permitting or anything like that. And actually, I talked to the neighbor about it, and I got no response. And in fact, it's like this fence, and you might have seen in the comments about the fence. It's like, I talked to the neighbor about building a fence, and I'm all for it. And I say, well, did you get a survey done when you bought the house? No, the answer was no. And I'm like, well, if we're going to build a fence, I want to, have a survey. And then the next thing was, well, I have a relative who does surveys, father-in-law or father or something. And I was like, I don't think I want to build a fence based on a survey that your relative conducted. And then, so I got the survey, the one you have, before I even knew they applied to build this thing. And the next time I saw the applicant, I said, hey, she had mentioned it before. I said, are you still planning on, eventually building the thing? And I said, because I got a survey and it is encroaching by 3 inches. And she says, and I say, she says yes. And I say, well, when you build, are you going to observe the setback? That was my question. I want to work this out with the neighbor, person to person. They referred me to their attorney. Well, first she said, we're going to build it wherever HP tells us to build it. And then once I reviewed the plans and I saw the huge error, I reached out to them very nicely and just explained, this property line is inaccurate, and, I don't know what this means. And you didn't say, do you plan on building it 4 feet to the west of where the east wall is, or what? And they referred me to their attorney. So I'm here because of that, because communications have failed. And I don't mind researching the HP guidelines and coming here. Actually, this is kind of a cool room. But from my reading of this, HP did drop it on the setback, the size, and the massing of the scale.
Well, and that's what I just want, and I appreciate everything you're telling us, and I understand you're here because as you stated, you felt like the communication has failed. But from the staff report from that September 3rd meeting, I showed that there were 4 items for consideration: demolishing the garage, constructing a new garage, replacing a 6-foot wood fence, and replacing a 6-foot brick wall. So those are the items that were approved. There were not details approved. This doesn't say construct a new garage to this height, to this width, setback in this specific location. So these were the items that were approved, from what I'm understanding, were just those 4 items. The rest of these issues will be handled in the permitting process. So if you have an issue with any of those 4 items and can articulate why these 4 items should not have been approved, then we can have a discussion on that.
So just to clarify, I mean, there is a dimensioned site plan, dimensioned floor plans, and dimensioned elevation drawings, and that is what was approved, and exactly that is what we would sign off on a building permit, unless they come in and make a revision to those drawings. It is lacking the total height of the garage on the elevation, but they are dimensioned, and we have the finished floor heights for each level, so I think the commission they could estimate the approximate height of the proposed garage, so that's why there wasn't a big fuss about that dimension being lacking. But other than that, they were of the understanding that the garage was going to be built in that northeast corner on the property line as shown, and that it was going to be the dimensions, the materials, the design details as shown in those documents. So as it moves forward, if things have to shift because something's not where they think it was, or there's an issue with building code or an issue with fire marshal, then those changes will come back to the Historic Preservation Commission, either staff or the commission. Public notice would be given either way for any additional changes to what was approved. So. Oh, and yeah, there was, there actually, as part of the approval, there was a finding that, or an allowance for the garage to shift up to a certain number of feet, specifically because of the discussion that was had about whether or not the property line was drawn accurately. So they already have an allowance in there to move it over, depending on where that final survey identified the property line.
May I make a comment? It sounds to me like we don't have a final decision on things. My understanding is that a certain amount has been approved by HP and the planning division and all appropriate parties, but we don't have a final structure yet. So I think...
Holly, please, Holly, just
okay,
stop.
I think... Okay, wait just a minute. I think what Mr. Uday was saying is that while we're listening to you, and we certainly have, we hear your concerns, that there may be a better opportunity for you, and there still are opportunities for you to bring your concerns to us. But we don't really have enough right now to make that decision. That's what I'm hearing.
What I would say is the design is final.
Okay.
The specific dimensions, the heights, all of those things are final. What was left to be determined was within a few inches, where is that going to go because of the discrepancy in the surveys. What we now know post HP Commission is that his survey and our survey are identical. We currently encroach by 3 inches. We are going to move it over, move it being the design approved by HP to the property line. We will resubmit that to Ms. Friddle and her staff, and unless we vary from the design that was approved, we will move forward, subject to this appeal being rejected by the Board of Adjustment.
But is one of the design issues whether or not that whatever's on the property line, is it 8 feet or is it going to be the full height? Is that your biggest contention here?
Yes, absolutely. Right. And in HP, they approved structure to be built on property line.
Right.
According to the new design, which is straight up and down.
The full height, right?
Yep.
So while I understand that argument, I'm not sure that, I'm not an expert in the HP regulations, right? So I would have to be advised as to if they allowed it, obviously there's something in their guidelines that allow for a structure to go from 8 feet up to that full design. And so I'm curious.
And it's not uncommon. I live on 15th and Walker, and I have a full 2-story garage that is on the property line. And the full 2 stories is flush on the property line. So yes, the design, to your point, of it being flush on the property line was absolutely approved unanimously by HP. He may not like that.
Right.
But that's what was approved by HP under their guidelines.
Right, and so I feel like...
And also had to be then approved by the other approval processes.
Building permit,
code.
If fire
everything
marshal
else.
says, you got to move it, we got to move it.
Windows.
Sure.
So
I mean, I'm having
still
a hard
living.
time seeing how I can overcome a decision from the HP. I don't think that they take their decisions very lightly. So I'm having trouble seeing that all of that would not have been something that went under consideration at the time that they made their decision.
With future decisions to be made.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's why this appeal is very difficult to follow. And what exactly is the appeal?
May I make a comment here? And I understand what you're saying. They didn't get it approved to build it on the property line. There is no accurate property line on the plans that they presented to HP.
Right.
They got it
But that, again, was going to be determined in the future and would have to be approved by both sides, both property owners, prior to any building permit being built, because you have legal status on where that would be.
I disagree. If I recall, I think the contingency actually says that it can be moved up to the west by 5 feet. We're not talking about the east. If you just erase the property line off the plans, they have asked to build it 4 feet to the west. And now, with an accurate property line, they're saying, we want to move it 4 feet to the east. They didn't get a contingency for that. They got a contingency to move it to the west by 1 to 5 feet.
But it's on the property line. That's the key. And where said property line ended up is where it will be approved to be built.
The 4-foot issue was not knowing where that property line was. It was always going to be on the property line as determined by a survey. Now we have a survey that marries with his, and so now we know where that structure will be built.
And this is precisely what I'm saying is that this is not the historic setback. The Sanborn maps show a gap. We know that it's off the property line originally. We know that it was built over the property line at some point in the past.
But the Historical Commission can make that determination. They could say, well, we're going to allow this much variance, and we will allow this property to be built on the property line.
So is your argument that the taller portion of the garage was built off the property line? They built that 8-foot enclosure up to the property line, and that's what you have issue?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
That's exactly it. I would like to see this built 4 feet or further off of the actual property line as they presented.
We can't do that. That's not what we presented. What we presented
It
was
wasn't approved either.
Correct.
And that's so, I don't know that he has recourse at the building permit side, but.
I mean, well, no. What was presented was we built it on the property line. There was discrepancy of where that was. Now knowing where the property line is, we cannot shift it 4 feet. The backyard has a pool and other features that are already there. You cannot shove this 4 feet to the west.
And, you know, anyone, I mean, maybe not anyone, but 4 feet is a big difference on a survey. How did a survey get it wrong by 4 feet? Who did the survey? And anyone can present inaccurate plans and say, oh, we want to build on a property line, and then after the fact, get a real survey and move the property line to where they want it.
Yeah, well,
If I may ask Ms. Friddle, based off what Mr. Bell has said, if that property, the tall portion of the building was, let's say, 3-4 feet off the property line, and you're replacing the building, is it the HP Commission's practice, or what are the guidelines to be able to move that towards that property line?
So the guidelines talk about approximating the historic placement of the garage. We don't require that to be exact. We often have garages that are encroaching, and we of course allow people to move that so that it's fully within their property. Sometimes people don't want it to be on the property line, even though historically it was, and they move it over, so that there is a space there for whatever purposes. Sometimes people want to scoot it closer to the property line, maybe to provide more room to navigate in and out of a garage with a narrow driveway. So we often, if it was at the rear of the yard in the northeast corner and someone said, well, I want to pull it all the way up right behind the back of the house on the opposite side, that would be a change that the commission would have some discussion about. But shifting it over by a couple of feet, still within the same area of the yard, still on or close to the property line, is something that is commonly approved.
Okay, that's all I need to know. I think the only other thing that I would like to know, I think you presented an argument that the character of the garage itself will change from more of a storage type to having living quarters.
Sure.
Is that?
Yeah, the Sanborn maps say that it's a 1.5-story garage. The half-story up there is for storage. It's not an apartment. There's no plumbing. There's nothing in there for living quarters. Both sides are just closets, and there's like a little main room. They misrepresented, the character of that by saying that it was living quarters, and then the new plans have a full house, a residential unit, so to speak. Like I said, they've got everything in there for a house.
Okay.
So yeah, it does change the nature of it, and that's exactly why I referenced that HP guideline, is because it says that you can expand the footprint up to 5% of the parameters of the lot for parking of 2 vehicles. It doesn't say you can expand the footprint to put in a kitchen and a laundry room.
Okay.
And I think they're expanding the footprint to enclose the stairwell up rather than have it on the outside of the building.
Currently it's already enclosed.
So again, he's completely mischaracterizing.
Is it an ADU?
No. And the reason being, it was mislabeled as living quarters, much like all the other 2-story, including mine, there is a bathroom. What makes it a dwelling unit and living quarters is the presence of a stove and kitchen, which is not present here. We can modify the site plan and take living quarters off. The stove is what trips it into being a dwelling unit, which would make it impermissible. There is no stove, there is no kitchen, much like every other 2-story unit within Heritage Hills.
Okay.
Actually, some of my neighbors probably do have
There is a
stoves.
full-size dishwasher, a full-size fridge, a full-size kitchen sink, and a 3-top eating space. There is a full-size washer and dryer, a walk-in closet, a full bathroom with a shower and a vanity, and a linen closet.
Just like I have, that's permitted. What makes it an accessory dwelling unit is the kitchen, the stove, which is not present here. But respectfully, Mr. Chairman, I think we could go back and forth,
Right. And again, by design, it was approved by the HP Commission.
And also, and I am saying that, I think they got some things wrong here, but, the idea that we have to build this thing over 600 square feet is a misnomer. Recently, on HP 2500069, an applicant applied to build a 2-story garage, and they actually did it on a footprint of 580 square feet. So they've got plenty of room for a car, for 2 cars, and it's not some square footage footprint over 600 square feet. So anyway, I just, I think that, we got it wrong.
Looking at the property, this garage is 60 feet behind your home, from proximity, in parallel to your existing garage. It matches a lot of the other properties on the block, so.
And it doesn't match the setback pattern of anything else around.
I think we're ready for a motion.
Yeah, and at the risk of losing a quorum, I don't want to do that because I will have to leave here soon. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to deny the appeal and uphold the HP's decision in case number 16087.
I'll second.
With a motion and a second, vote when available. And a vote to yes is to deny the appeal. And it does pass. The appeal has been denied.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thirty-three is.
Well, item number 33 was continued.
Additional items, item 5. Any additional items?
Just the calendar.
Oh, yes. Very last page of the telephone book. Did everybody look at the proposed calendar for 2026? Do we make a motion to approve that? We adopt.
Adopt.
I move to adopt the 2026 calendar.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, we'll vote. Yep, communications and reports. Anything from board committee? We don't have any board committees active, I don't think. Anything from board members? Municipal counsel's office? No, we learned some more stuff today. Citizens to be heard? Any other business? No?
Have one more meeting for the end of the year, December the 4th.
Boy, looking forward to that. We are adjourned.
All right.